Since its debut in 2002, I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here has become a staple of British television. Yes, I'm a Celebrity, otherwise known as I'm a Celeb or I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, is one of the most talked about UK TV shows throughout the entire year. I go as far as to say that it isn't Christmas without I'm a Celebrity, and I'm so thrilled that it is back for 2024. It's set in the Australian jungle, and celebrities that you may have never heard of go head to head to confront their fears and endure trials while forming unexpected bonds. Hosted by Anton Deck, who you'll know from Saturday Night Takeaway, but I think mostly from I'm a Celebrity. I don't know, as an I'm a Celebrity girl, is that out of pocket? The first episode came out last night at the time of filming this, and hopefully at the time of uploading as well, and already is showing a lot of heart, a lot of pain, and a lot of fun. So I wanted to recap the first episode of I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here 2024. I know it's a little bit different for this channel, but I really like reality TV, as you probably know from me playing the reality TV games. So I thought, you know what? Why not actually get into some reality TV? Let me know what you think down below and give it a thumbs up if you find yourself enjoying the video. If you've never seen I'm a Celebrity before, there is a group of celebrities who go into the jungle and they basically do a series of trials and challenges in order for them to prove themselves, not only to themselves and their families back home, but also to earn stars for camp. And these stars give them the equivalent of food. So for instance, if they got 1 star out of 10, they'd have a pretty measly meal, and 10 stars would give them a very good feast. The first episode of I'm a Celebrity is always something that I don't particularly enjoy. I know, controversial, but seeing the celebrities get into camp is always a little bit drawn out and tedious for me. This season was already very different, and I was hooked from the moment it started. And it started with us finding out who the celebrities were and having their little talking heads happening as well. I really liked this because we really got to know who all of the characters were before we even properly got into it. And I say characters because they all have their very set personalities. And I know that sounds really weird because they are real people, but I'm a Celebrity are very good at casting the characters, the celebrities that come on to fulfill certain roles in the show. They always have someone who's into drama. They always have sort of like a teenage heartthrob who has grown up. They always have an influencer. They always have someone who is prone to getting a little bit grumpy as well. So I'm very excited to see who falls into what role. But I already have quite an inkling. Danny Jones being on it is my favourite thing because he was always my favourite in McFly.
Get ready for the return of I'm a Celebrity.
Get me out of here! You have to join in every time. It's just the rule. Excuse the subtitles. We've got Danny Jones from McFly, Ultimate Boosie, who is a professional dancer, Alan Halsall, who is in soaps. We've got Barry McGuigan, Dee McCullough. We've got Tulisa Contostavlos. I'm sorry, I will learn how to say her name. We also have Jane Moore, who I think is on Loose Women, Melvin O'Doom, who's a presenter, GK Barry. We have Colleen Rooney. We have that 10 celebrities, I think, is the initial lineup for I'm a Celebrity. We also have been rumoured that Maura Higgins from Love Island and other things that she has gone on to do will be entering the jungle. I think there is a lineup of 11 celebrities. I think that was 10. So fingers crossed we'll be able to find out who else is coming in not too long. From my initial looking at the cast and seeing who's in the lineup on the build up to the show, I do think that the person who is probably most likely going to win is Danny Jones. McFly have a history of winning shows. Harry won Strictly Come Dancing. Tom Fletcher is a #1 published author and he is incredibly talented with viral videos all over the internet. Dougie also won I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. Danny Jones won The Masked Singer, so he is not unfamiliar with winning reality TV shows. So I think it's definitely likely that Danny Jones is probably going to win. That being said, I think we have a couple of unspoken heroes that are going to be getting into the top. Initial predictions, without anyone else joining the jungle, I'm kind of thinking our top 3 are going to be Danny Jones. I think that Tulisa is probably going to be in the top 3 and maybe GK Barry. Or possibly Barry McGuigan. I'm a Celebrity is now catering to a variety of different ages. They always have been. This is the first year I've known more than like 2 or 3 people on the show. So I think the demographic is definitely skewing down. I think GK Barry might rise into the top 3. If she doesn't leave beforehand, we'll get into it. But she is definitely a little bit scared of a lot of things, and my heart goes out to her because I really think she's being very genuine, but we'll cover that in a second. Straight off the bat, I think that Melvin O'Doom is going to be like a massive hype man, but I do think he is going to turn into the grumpy camper stereotype. I think he is going to really feel the pressure and the pain of being out in the jungle as it goes on, probably the lack of food as well. I just get the feeling he's going to be quite short fused. I don't really get that vibe from anyone else apart from Barry McGuigan, maybe because he is also grumpy old man energy, but not in a bad way, like in a oh, Dad's had it again kind of way. Do you know what I mean? We do have quite a strong introduction to everyone. It's very like Love Island style intros, and that might be because it's ITV. I've never noticed how Love Island-esque it is before, so I don't know. Also, these kind of intros, letting people know who they are, I kind of really like as well. Dean McCullough, I've never heard of before. I'm so sorry. He's a Radio 1 DJ. He seems really fun. I think he's going to be one of those people who are bringing the vibes into camp, especially when it's at the lower point. I really hope so anyway, because I think he could go either that way or go into the grumpy direction. But I think this is also me trying to assume that everyone is going to get grumpy because of the lack of food and the fact that they are in an Australian jungle in the middle of nowhere. He comes in and immediately starts catwalking. Look at this. Come on, anyone who's doing this on national television deserves so much joy. What a pleasure to have in the villa. I really hope I'm not wrong about him. Danny Jones from McFly is terrified of snakes.
I would never say I'm a celebrity to get me out of here, to get me out of a trial, for one reason, and one reason only. Dougie said do not say that. I fart a lot. You'll see me sneak off into the bushes, oh, you know what he's doing.
I feel like we've got a meme face already, so just saying, if anyone wants to make memes, there is the face for you. Our first group was Oti Mabuse, we've got Tulisa, we've got Dean McCullough, Jay Moore and Danny Jones. Now, immediately what I was hit with was this massive sense of camaraderie. They all seem to get on really, really well to start with, which is really nice. I feel like there can be a lot of fakeness when you start a reality TV show, and when they meet for the first time, there's a lot of, oh, everyone loves each other. And I actually felt like they were all here for a good time. Not because they've been paid a particular amount of money, but it all seemed like that was something they maybe wanted to do, which I think is really cool. And when we met our first group, it was time to go on to the first mini trial, shall we say. Basically, we find out that these 5 people need to get into helicopters to get to the next step. The next step will be them being able to find the next group of people and picking out of the 5 of them who to pair up with to head into camp. By doing this next mini trial, they'll devise the order in which they get into the helicopters and go to find the other group. What's at stake is the first group, the first pair of people, one from group 1, one from group 2 that have paired up, are going to be the camp leaders, which means they'll get special privileges like being in a camp leader hut and sort of like away from everyone else, and being able to sit on some comfier chairs in camp. It also means that they will be exempt from being voted for in the first trial, which I think is a pretty good stake, because I don't want to be voted for straight away when I first get into the jungle. Now, I will show you a couple of clips from this first scene, but I'm not going to watch it because I can't watch this. Any eating or drinking trials I absolutely can't watch, so I will show you the better moments of the trial, shall we say, and not the worst moments.
Down there are 5 choppers, 1 for each of you.
No!
Now before you take off, you might want to get yourselves a parachute, because you'll all be skydiving out of your chopper. You seem very happy with that.
Did I not mention they were skydiving? I might have forgotten that.
We haven't offered them a welcome drink.
I don't remember ever getting a trial this soon into the show, so I don't know. My stomach was turning already at this point.
This is blended bull's penis and fish eye with a vomit fruit garnish.
We find out that they have to eat the garnish and then neck the drink, essentially, and whoever finishes it first will be first onto the helicopters, and then whoever finishes it last will be last into the helicopters. As you could probably expect, Danny Jones absolutely necks it. He gets to go into the helicopter first, followed by, more surprisingly, Tulisa, who is absolutely made for this show. You can already tell she is so competitive, and I think that's going to work really, really well for the vibe of the show. So she goes next into the helicopters, followed by Jane, which means my prediction about her sort of getting stuck into it and doing just going for it, I think was accurate, which leaves Dean and Oti. And Oti manages to, shall we say, spit some of it out. So she finishes last because she can't obviously finish what she spit out. And then Dean is struggling quite a lot, and I was really struggling to watch that scene, but he manages to go fourth. Oti goes fifth. We then start to get introduced to the second team. We have Barry McGuigan, we have GK Barry, Alan Halsall, and we also have Melvin O'Doom and Colleen Rooney. We have their little intros, we get to see them a little bit. GK Barry is not dressed for the occasion, but she looks fantastic. I feel like everyone is expecting GK Barry to bring the drama. I don't know if she will. I think she's gonna give more of a laid-back approach. But here are the two Barrys. I immediately love GK Barry's sense of humor. It's very dry. I don't listen to her podcast, so I've never really come across her before, just clips on TikTok and other social media sites. She's got such a dry sense of humor. It's actually really good to watch. But I also think it's kind of like sense of bravado in a way, especially as the rest of the episode plays out. Colleen Rooney is also someone I'm not very familiar with, but I do know her from the Rebecca Vardy scandal, which Ant and Dec do reference in the show as well. But she seems like a very hardy woman. I feel like she is going to get down to business as well, like Jane. Maybe I'm just thinking that all of the women are incredibly strong, but they're giving strong vibes. After we've met everyone in group 2, we see the celebrities jumping from the planes, and Danny Jones is like so up for it. He goes for it, but obviously there is some hesitation from some of the other celebrities. Tulisa goes for it as well, and I'm like, I don't know what I expected of Tulisa, but she is surprising me on all odds. She's just vibing. She is just trying very hard to get to the ground. We see the celebrities on the ground at this point, spotting the helicopters, spotting the people jumping. Jane goes for it as well. She jumps, and there's a little bit of talk from Dean about whether or not he can actually jump. He still feels ill from drinking the smoothie. I say smoothie with a pinch of salt, but he is having a little bit of a will they, won't they kind of moment. Will he jump? Won't he jump? I definitely feel like it's something that the show could have leaned into more. I'm glad they didn't, but I think there could have been a massive plot point about whether or not Dean would jump. I'm really glad that wasn't the case, though. I think the show needs to move very fast, especially on the first episode. That is a problem I've had with the other first episodes previously. So when we see he finally does jump, he does seem to enjoy it. He looks like he's enjoying it. And Oti also jumped. We see Danny land. He immediately goes to pair up with someone, and I think he recognizes who he's going for. Who does he pick? Who does he pick? Of course he goes for Barry. And I think Danny and Barry were going to be the dream team. Tulisa is very, very quickly next. I don't know how much they've edited it, but seeing the rest of the race, I feel like they were always like right on each other's tails. She grabs Alan. I think she just goes for the first person that she sees, and they head off into the jungle as well. Now there are 4 vehicles for the celebrities to get into. They also have to drive, which is my dream. Like, I would love to do off-roading like this. This is so cool. We have Jane, who is on Loose Women, and of course GK Barry is also on Loose Women on the panel, so they pair up and they head into the jungle as well, which leaves Melvin and Colleen completely unpicked. Who's going to land next? Well, we know who's going to land next, and it is Dean. Dean grabs Colleen and they run off into the jungle, and we see that they have grabbed the last car. That leaves these two with some backpacks, and they have to trek into the jungle. They are now officially out of the running, and they have to go in all by themselves into the jungle. So bless them, they have to find their way to camp. When they get to this lake, this is the first time we've had a typical like bug moment on I'm a Celebrity this year. They have to find a key, but they have to choose the boat wisely, which means some of them might be not in the best form to be a boat. I feel like with the bugs, this is really where we get the first look of all the celebrities and how they deal with these situations. One of each pair was putting their hand into the boxes to find the keys to, you know, play with the bugs. And the other half of the celebrities were waiting by the boats, having staked their claim on the boat that they thought was best. So GK Barry was the person out of their pair in order to put her hand into the box, and she had a bit of a problem. I always feel so bad for them because it just feels like it would be horrible. I hate it, but I love the show, but I hate it. We also got Tulisa and Alan straight off the mark. They went in the boat straight away, so they have now overtaken They have now overtaken Danny and Barry into first place, and they are racing ahead. So we have Tulisa and Alan. They are heading off. They are the first to go, and it's very, very speedy as well. They went so fast. Next to leave are Colleen and Dean, but they did have to pick their boat wisely, and as you can see, there was a hole in the back of the boat, which isn't ideal, and they quickly capsized. If you ask me, that was definitely a highlight of the show. I'm so sorry to Colleen and Dean, but oh my goodness, I didn't ever think I would see either of them in the lake. But they're not the only people we're going to see in the lake. Danny and Barry are next into the boats. They go flying as well. They are trying their best to catch up with Tulisa and Alan. But keep in mind that Dean and Colleen have sunk the boat. We have a really good bit of ingenuity from Dean as well. And I have like so many props for this man, because he immediately goes into problem solving mode. He takes his shirt off and uses his t-shirt as a way to plug the hole in the bottom of the boat. Excuse me, that's the most brilliant idea. I just think that was so good. I do want to say as well, GK Barry's screams 100% sound genuine to me. I don't think she's putting it on for the cameras. I think she's being so for real, and it makes it even more heartbreaking. They then reach this sort of jetty in the middle of this river that they are, I want to say kayaking down. I think it's more of a canoe situation. But Tulisa and Alan managed to get the key out. It's covered in green ants. They are so painful. Green ants are infamously painful. Danny and Barry then find the jetty as well and go around to the other side, and they too work on getting the key out. Melvin have already given up and are walking to camp. We know that Dean and Colleen's boat has a hole in it. They seem to have also given up at this point. They've tried to get into there, but there was a little bit of a collision moment with Danny and Barry and Colleen and Dean, and therefore it was no longer viable for them to continue.
Get out of our way! Get out of our way!
And at this point, Jane and GK Barry have been unable to get off the starting point after their boat also is not in the best shape, so they opt to swim down the river. I have a feeling the producers were probably like, no, please, no, not that, anything but that. So they decided to instead dry off and walk back to camp. It then comes to the point where we have to find a winner. This is so close. This is so close. This is Tulisa and Alan. They are pulling into this final jetty. They have the key from the green ant box, and there's Danny and Barry. And you think there's probably edited that they're, you know, furthest away, but watch the boat, right? Watch the boat behind Tulisa and Alan's boat. Look, ready? That's them coming in there. They were so close behind. Tulisa and Alan then win the race. They managed to be the camp leaders, and as a reward for being camp leaders, they get asked to nominate a pair to do the first Bush Tucker trial. They decide to nominate Danny and Barry, who, do you know what? I think as a camp leader, they have proven their tenacity by being so close to that winning group. I really do feel like it was the right choice. But it does mean that we have a Bush Tucker trial a little bit later on that Danny and Barry are going to be going up for. That will be 2 claim meals for the camp, so 10 stars. Hopefully we'll be going back to camp. We'll have to see what happens a bit later on. We then get our first look at camp. Immediately it feels a bit smaller than the other camps have been. I don't know why. It's set out very differently anyway. We have bunk beds for the first time ever. I don't remember ever having bunk beds before, but please tell me if I'm wrong. I am probably wrong. This show has been out since 2002. There is no way I've watched every single season, especially not the ones in Wales. I didn't watch any of the ones that were set in Wales. Were they worth watching? Let me know below. The camp leader's hut also looks different. Previously it's been a bus and a lodge. This time the beds are outside. So I don't know how much of a difference it's going to make, but they are proper beds, and I think that is the really important thing here. The camp telephone looks really good as well. It always does. It's such an iconic staple of the show. And we have Melvin and Oti first having a look look around into the camp and they're immediately sort of situating themselves. Same with GK Barry and Jane, who come in next. Then there is a comment that is made that really frustrated me, and I feel like it was a comment that was really unnecessary. It came from GK Barry as well, and they were making a fire when she says, we need a man to make a fire, essentially. Let me play you the clip.
Melvin, do you know how to start a fire?
No idea.
Oh, we need a man.
We don't... Oh.
I know feminism, but we do need a man.
I'm sure that comment was made in jest and it was a joke, but I think there's a massive responsibility when you're on live TV, or at least national TV, to be really careful about the kind of things that you're saying. There are people watching from all walks of life. Let's not perpetuate the idea that women can't make fires. And actually, what I really liked about the show was, in the end, it was Jane that got the fire going. So they didn't need a man after all. And I'm not saying that women can't have men to help them with things around the camp or around in life, but I think that we shouldn't go into a situation like this and just assume the only people who can help set a fire are men. But likely none of them have made a fire before, and I think that is the important thing to take from this situation. It's not a we need a man. Anyway, I just really wanted to make that point clear. I am assuming that GK Barry said that in jest and as a joke, but again, I just think there's a bit of a responsibility when you're on national television to not make comments like that. It's not nice to hear, and it's not sending a good message. Danny and Barry then find out that they are going to be doing the trial, and that is, they take it well, but Barry clearly is a little bit like, okay, why am I the one that's going to be doing the trial? But he doesn't say anything. He is being very demure and sort of holding it in, but there is like clearly an annoyance on his face. I think he's just done. I think he's just had a really long day at this point. As all of this is happening, there has been a vote open for the public on your phones, on your mobile apps, and you get to vote for who is doing the first voted for trial, which will be announced at the end of the show. The vote has only been open for 17 minutes at this point, so you better have got your votes in quickly. And as the vote has closed, we see the first Bush Tucker trial with Danny and Barry. This trial is so frustrating to watch. It's very clear that Barry is unable to see as well as, you know, another person. It's called the Mausoleum of Mystery. The idea is that Danny has the codes, Barry has the padlocks that have like a code lock, so you have to spin the numbers in order to line up the particular code. His are labeled from 1 to 5, and Danny has to do a bit of a task to get the code, and then Barry has to unlock the padlocks to release the star. So Danny can earn 5 stars, Barry can potentially earn 5 stars as well, and Barry was just getting more and more frustrated as the task went on, understandably, because it seemed difficult. As this was going on, Danny had told us right at the start of the show that he is terrified of snakes. He was bitten by a snake once, which is why it is so jarring when snakes start pouring into his little crypt space.
You're off! Seconds out. Round 1. There's a snake! Brother, I've got snakes!
I love that he's calling him Bazza already, by the way. So he's unlocking the padlocks to get the stars for him.
4610.
So Barry immediately starts going wrong, as his stars are labelled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in that order, and he has started by putting the code for star 1 into padlock 5. Does that make sense? I don't know. It's very difficult to explain. As you can see as well at this point, Danny's got a little Justin Timberlake situation going on here. Mr. Trouser Snake.
Oh my word! I've got a snake up my shorts! Oh my god, my wiener!
We then get to the end, excuse the screenshot, we then get to the end of the trial, and Danny is concerned because he has a full-on snake in his trousers. It looks a bit sus, but if you keep watching...
Oh my god! Oh my word! Wow! What a start of the series!
As Danny is terrified of snakes, I can't even imagine the fear that would have been going through him. Not only is he surrounded by snakes, but there is a snake in a very delicate part. As the trial ends, we realise that Barry didn't actually manage to get any stars from that trial, but Danny did get 5 stars, which is absolutely incredible. So they've got 5 out of 10 stars overall, which means they're going to be getting a reasonable meal for camp, which leads us into the first camp meal.
You've defeated the snakes by, all for the sake of having a ball python near my own ball python.
Celebrities. As a result of Barry and Danny winning 5 stars in today's trial, you have Kangaroo Hind, Dandelion Leaves, Oxalis, Maze, and Legitimate.
One of the most challenging things about being in camp is even when you win 10 stars, you could get these foods that you have no idea what to do with. I always do find it quite jarring when you have a group of people who don't necessarily know how to cook or how to treat certain fruits and vegetables that they do get. I think that the producers wouldn't give them food that could be poisonous if it was prepared incorrectly, which I think is brilliant, but it is always fun to watch as these celebrities try and figure out how best to cook certain meals. Seeing them experience what they could possibly have for the first time is always a joy. I also did find it semi-strange that we didn't have any vegans or vegetarians on the show this year. I think no one has alluded to being vegetarian or vegan, but the more I look into the show, the more I watch it, the more I absorb I'm a Celebrity, I realise the show is the furthest thing from vegan that it could possibly be. So as someone who is vegan, I don't know if it would be something I would be comfortable going on the show for. The amount of cockroaches and other creatures that probably die at the hands of the show every day is not good, and it has faced criticism from vegan activist groups. We have everyone trying to get involved with the cooking as well. It's usually better that 1 or 2 people take the lead, and that does happen usually as the show goes on, but everyone was trying to get involved and show where they could help out, and it was a little bit like a too many cooks situation. I think Barry made a reference to that as well. But they did make the food look really, really good, which was amazing considering most of them had never seen kangaroo hide before. And they all seemed very excited about the food, even though they probably all had some kind of 5-star breakfast that morning too. We then, I know it's already happened, it's too soon, but we then get to the end of the show and it's time to find out who the public has voted to take part in the next trial, which is Vile Volcano. At this point, the celebrities have no idea what this trial is. We have had a teaser and I'll show it to you now.
One celebrity is in for a lovely day
when they head into the fire in a fight for food. Get ready for an eruption when you take on the Vile Volcano.
As the votes were happening around the fire pit, it's my favourite point of the show. I cannot tell you how much joy it brings me when they say, Tulisa, it's not you. And Dean, it might be you. But as they go around, each celebrity in turn, the celebrities are listening to whether or not it might be them. There has been a lot of drama before about the celebrities doing hand gestures and otherwise. 2 people back home who are potentially watching them on TV. For example, Andy was sat doing a little heart symbol. He's not just going to be in camp doing a little heart symbol like this. This is definitely a message. And we had Dean kissing his necklace as well, which could be viably something that he just does. We haven't seen him do it, but it's like a 24-hour show that's been squeezed into an hour and 45 minutes. So if they stop doing that suddenly, the producers have cracked down, and if they haven't, maybe they don't mind as much anymore. It comes down to the fact it might be GK or Dean.
GK Barry.
So this was live as well. This was happening live, a live feed from Australia. You can see immediately that GK Barry is not happy with this news. She does put on that show of bravado a little bit there, but then immediately does get emotional. And I feel so sorry for her. I feel like it's such a hard thing to be the first person to get picked as well. One thing I did notice was when they were sat around the fire pit, everyone has so much jewelry, and I have never realised that, so I don't know whether or not this is something that is now allowed, like for lots of people to have rings and jewelry and necklaces and all sorts. It doesn't bother me, but I feel like it's almost like a particular necklace would be your comfort item that you can bring from home. Like every celebrity gets to bring one item into the camp. Also, the amount of times I think I've said villa in this episode and then changed it to camp, if I've done that, I'm so sorry. I'm just used to talking about Love Island on this channel. I'm sorry. But that rounds up I'm a Celebrity 2024 episode 1. Let me know, what did you think in the comments down below? Did you watch the episode? Did you watch it live? Did you like the recap? Please let me know. I do want to say a massive thank you to our wonderful channel members who without you, videos like this wouldn't be possible. So thank you for letting me do this full time and taking a risk on these videos. If you did find yourself enjoying it as well, please do subscribe. I'd love to do more I'm a Celebrity content. And if that is something you would like to see, please give this video a like so I know that you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Enjoy the I'm a Celebrity season. I hope it does prepare you for Christmas because I always feel so wintry when it's on. Thank you so much for watching and I'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye.